I was extremely active. I never missed a day at work in 45 years. I'd left something in my daughter's car, and she'd come over, noticed that my feet were swelling. She said, "You need to go see your cardiologist." So I went and saw the cardiologist, and they thought I might be starting congestive heart failure. I couldn't walk 5 feet, and I got in the car, and instead of going to the appointment, I told my wife, take me to Beaumont Hospital, take me to the ER.
I had been working right up until really the few weeks before I was actually given the transplant. My mom's an RN, and she said, "Ed, you're looking a little jaundiced," which I didn't think was a big deal because I've been jaundiced before with Epstein-Barr. But I said, "Don't worry, Mom, I'm gonna go, I'll get it checked out." So I went, had my blood drawn. They called me the next day, and I said, "Oh, I'm that sick." I think actually what they said was, "I think we've messed up the numbers. There's no way you should be walking around with these numbers." And I yelled downstairs, "Hey, I gotta go over and get this redone. They messed up my numbers." And I came over to Beaumont, and sure enough, they didn't mess up my numbers, and had to make that phone call home. "Hey, can you pick up the car because I'm really sick."
I got diagnosed with the polycystic liver and kidney disease probably 30 years ago. And it really didn't have anything to do with how I felt at the beginning. As time went on, my liver got many, many cysts that are not like malignant, but they just grew and grew, and my liver got bigger and bigger. And as my liver got bigger and bigger, my abdominal area was scrunched together. I didn't feel like sickly. I did my life. I was being watched by the transplant team, and they told me I was gonna have to get on the list soon.
I had put on probably about 50 pounds in fluid in a matter of a week. So they admitted me into the hospital, and that's when Dr. El-Sabeh came in the room and told my wife and I that my liver was decompensated and I would need a liver transplant. That's when my adventure started.
They educated us on the fly. They told us, "Here are your options."
And I asked a bunch of questions, and the one thing that he said to me, and it's stuck in my mind ever since, was expect the unexpected.
People I didn't even know were so concerned and really made not just me comfortable, but my entire family. Here's what's going on now, and here's what's gonna happen in the future. And everybody had responsibilities, and we took those seriously.
I knew absolutely nothing about transplants until I went in for my interview/appointments with the clinic. And they explained everything, the entire process of what I would be going through to me, which really helped.
I don't think I've ever met any crew of people that was so caring the entire time I was here. And that's 100% true.
I got the call that they had a good match for me, and they wanted me to come into the hospital. They kept me here all day till they received the organs and were able to get their eyes on them. And it was a go.
It's a funny story. It was so quick, and everyone was saying I was gonna have to wait for so long.
The toughest thing for me on the transplant list was the wait. Everybody that I've talked to that's pre-transplant goes through the same thing. It might take 3 weeks, it might take 3 years.
But my MELD scores had gone beyond 40 at that point. And finally somebody came in and they said, "Hey, we found a transplant, a donor for you." And I was the only one in the room, and so I immediately call everybody, and they're like, "Oh, Ed, no, you don't have a, you don't have a donor yet. It's too fast." And finally, when someone came in, there were people there, and I'm like, "Tell me, I got a donor, right?" And they said, "Yes, you have a donor," and we were elated. It was amazing.
When you're doing it, these are great organs for you, and they wheeled me in. I had no time to, at that point, to even, it was done.
When they took me off my sedatives to bring me back into a kind of a semi-regular state of mind, and found out that I'd already had my liver transplant, the first thing I did was cry. I actually even think Dr. Netto had some tears in his eyes.
unbelievable what they all have to do. The nurses and the assistants, and you feel like, oh my God, how can they do all this for me? And I just thank them. You need a lot of help. You do.
I look at the entire transplant team as part of my family now. My kids were at the hospital when I was going through this, and my wife. And the doctors from the clinic took time out to talk to every one of them. Any questions they had, they answered. And that meant so much to my children. They still talk about it.
My post-transplant, well, I'm gonna be honest, it was really fuzzy. I remember it as really just being a few days, but I'm told it was 7. I didn't even realize I was in ICU when I first woke up. They had warned me, hey, you know what, you're gonna be intubated and you're not gonna be able to breathe. And I didn't remember anything. I thought I was in a really bad car accident. And I thought, oh God, I wonder who's been hurt, what's been happening.
I can't even explain. It was very dreamy almost, which I guess is normal. But I honestly don't remember being in horrible pain. I guess they were controlling it with the meds.
Scariest day through this whole process that I ever had, from start to finish, was the day they discharged me. My wife and I thought, oh my God, what are we gonna do when we get you home? Are we gonna be able to handle this?
Having support is paramount. They interviewed not just me, but they interviewed my entire family. And not just immediate family, they sat the entire family down, and I'm very fortunate I have a very large family network. And they sat us all down. They said, here's what he's going to be going through. When I came home, they all knew exactly what to expect and what their responsibility to me was and what mine was to them.
But I was seeing the doctors every week. I was getting labs twice a week. And now we're at the point where I feel, like I said, I feel pretty normal.
My life is great right now. Every year we go up to Frankfurt for a week and a half with my entire family and all my grandkids. And this year I'm going to be able to do it for the first time in 3 years. And I'm so looking forward to it.
I can walk everywhere. It's weird looking at yourself when you've seen yourself so large. And then I look, is that me really? It's really, but it's a good thing. I mean, I wouldn't have chosen to lose that bigness this way, but since I did, might as well enjoy that part of it and enjoy being healthy.
I didn't realize how incredibly sick I was. Incrementally you probably get worse and worse and worse, and then it comes to a huge crescendo, and you don't realize it until, what was almost the very last minute. And I remember I was actually driving the car about 6 months later, and I had to pull over on the side of the road and I made a phone call home. I'm like, something weird just happened. And they said, what? I said, I have this clarity. I still can't really define it, but it was so incredible. And I did. I asked them when I came back, I'm like, is this clarity part of it? And they explained, yes, there's probably ammonia building up in your blood systems and you don't realize. And so I suppose that was the biggest change, was just the clarity, the good sleep, eventually the healthy appetite. But yeah, it was life has changed for sure. Yeah.
I can't thank my donor's family enough. First of all, if it hadn't been for my donor's family to okay the gift of life from their family member, I wouldn't be here.
There is something bittersweet about receiving an organ. The morning that they came in and told us that I was going to get an organ, and you're overjoyed. Your family is overjoyed. Everybody across the nation that is, oh, thank gosh. But in your heart, there's another family out there that is devastated. There's something that you have to be thoughtful about with that.
I am a funeral director for 45 years. I understand the grieving process pretty much. And for a family to have to make that kind of a decision when they've got one of their family members that is on life support about donation. That's not an easy decision. For someone to do that, I mean, it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible.
I think about that person, I would say every day, and who they were. I've created my own image. I've written a letter at this point. They encourage that. I thought it was important.
It's kind of, I want to make sure I write this letter so carefully. They're still grieving. So I want them to know how thankful I am.
I can't thank my donor's family enough. That's why I'm hoping that I get a response from them, because I feel that not only am I part of their family, but they're part of my family now.
I just want to thank them tremendously, because that was a big thing for them to do. And yeah, it's like a miracle.
You can't do enough to give back. So many people already made this happen for me. I'm indebted to them, not just the donor, but everybody. Yeah.
This video is sponsored in whole or part by the Gift of Life Foundation.